All right, we're live. Welcome, guys. Today, I want to show you this base I built for a survival playthrough in Space Engineers. It is a fully programmed and energy positive base, fully functional. It has one main hangar, fully capable of storing two rovers, and then one cross section here in the middle between the two main buildings that is also pressurized and is able to hold one vehicle, no connector in the middle crosshatch though. But you could store a armored vehicle, military vehicle there, and then if you're being raided, you can. It's not gonna be in the way of the rovers trying to deposit materials into the main factory. So this is a factory blueprint, and the building on your right is gonna be the main factory building connected with a residential and science building in which is this secondary building on your left. The building has two main wings. The right wing is the residential wing, and the left wing is gonna be the science wing. You'll see. We'll go a full base tour. But this is a blueprint that I made for you guys so that you can load it into in a playthrough, and it should not be very expensive to build. I plan to start a brand new series to show you how to get started in Space Engineers. I spent weeks trying to get everything, learn everything that I can about the game and how to efficiently start in Space Engineers. And I put everything together into this base and into a rover that is going to allow you to build the base. So before you even start building starships and everything, you'll be able to be fully set up with this kind of base. So you'll see how I do that in that play series. So please look out for that series. I hope to see you there, and we'll do it live on weekdays and probably some time during the weekends. But weekdays from 8 p.m. Eastern time, around that time, we'll be live and playing. I may even do more live time as much as I can, but at least that time will be live. So this blueprint, like I said, is everything that you need to get have be fully set up. If we can see in the back, we'll even have grinders and collectors, so your rovers can and starships can fly up to it and don't even have to connect. Spend time. I'll show you how to use connectors to eject everything and using sorters to not filter out the things you want ejected from your vehicles. So the collectors will then handle all the sorting for you into the factory, and we'll go over that in a bit. But then you'll also be able to once if something breaks down one of your ships, you deem it's now scrap, you can just I'll show you how to create a ship that is able to uh, latch onto a scrap ship, like a scrapper. Imagine a scrap yard in a junkyard here, where they use a magnet to latch onto cars, lift them up, and then drop them into a compressor. So here we're gonna be dropping them into those grinders you see there, and they'll be able to gather all the resources for you. So no more grinding by hand or anything like that. I already have a blueprint for a welder. It's a multifunctional ship that you just switch the tips, and it can be a miner, a welder, or or a grinder as well. So I'll show you that, and I have the blueprint for the master rover that is gonna allow you to make a hole in the ground that is gonna be 100 meters deep, and it's designed to create a mine shaft, which this base is also designed to be built on top of that mine shaft. So you start with a rover, you find your base location, you say here there's a massive magnesium deposit, so I'm gonna be able to make a lot of ammo for all my turrets. So I'm gonna settle here. You then park the rover, um, and dig 100 meters into the ground. You'll get probably multiple mineral deposits, which you'll be able to gather using, and all that stone is going to allow that you dig along the way before you reach the deposits will allow you to build this facility, full facility, to be able to keep extracting all that mineral, the building underneath the ground, and the hole into your bunker is going to be protected by this amount of turrets, all these turrets and this facility in the top, so your starships can dock. I see what you see in front of you are hydrogen tanks. They'll be able to dock here, gather hydrogen, and keep on their way. I've also found this awesome Mesa top GPS location that I'm gonna show you, and in the survival playthrough we're gonna make our way here. We're gonna find our way here and actually build our factory here, because it's a pretty cool location, way up top, or maybe not, because rovers cannot get up here. But maybe we build an elevator. This is Pertam planet, and I'm also going to show you how to find it in an Xbox or in a console. It took me a long time. I couldn't find online how to start a Pertam playthrough, and it's just that it's a part of the alien world scenario, and I couldn't figure it out until I randomly just started one and saw that Pertam was an option. So there it is. Per time, you in Xbox, you can find it on
Fuel critical.
on the alien world scenario. But yeah, let's get started. So every space engineer day starts in the bedroom, because when you're in survival PvP and the server elapses, the time elapses while you're gone, your character might die if because it'll run out of energy, oxygen, and if you just leave him, like log out right here and leave him standing here, right? So when you log out in a survival PvP, you have to log out on a bed. That way your character will survive. You can also
Fuel critical.
open. I'm gonna show you. Open your visor so that it can breathe in the atmosphere. So open your visor and then leave him in a bed, and I think that should be good.
Fuel
You'll come back and you'll be in the same place. Okay, so we're in the residential wing, because I assume this is where every day is gonna start after you log out and log back in. And I wanted to show you then the bedroom. There are two bedrooms, and each bedroom has its jukebox with a limited range, a couch, TV. Nothing is scripted or programmed, so it's gonna be all Xbox friendly and PS4 friendly. So, but you will be able to program it if you're in a PC, or have availability to scripts and things like that. But yeah, each bedroom has its own private shower and a toilet. Must have a toilet. I don't know if they're non. There's no effect of toilets, but in Xbox in the vanilla. But I think there are mods that people use that might have effects. So I wanted to equip one and have one personal for each person. There's a sensor. The doors will sensor, and they will, as you, well, let me not get ahead of myself. You have your own locker, and you'll be able to control the jukebox, the TV, and the lights through this button panel. You will also be able to lock your doors, although you'll have to manually close them. It's just I part of the I would have to use another sensor, and I think that's a waste of PCU in order to get it so that it closes as well when you pass through. Because the room is set to recognize when you're inside of it, so it doesn't, as soon as you walk through it, it knows that the owner, only the owner is inside of it. But then once you leave the room, it knows that the owner has left, so it closes, locks, turns off the lights. It should turn off the light. I don't know why it didn't turn off. Oh, it turns off the light. Turns off the jukebox and the TV as well. I might have messed up with programming. I'll double check that, but it should do that. Both rooms right now are registered to me as owner or whoever loads the blueprint. But when you're playing in survival and you're building the blueprint for yourself, what you do is whoever welds the sensor will have ownership over that block, and that will be the person that the sensor recognizes when they walk in and out of the room. All right. So every other block, if you want to, you can weld it yourself, and it'll have ownership over you, but otherwise you'll be able to use them no matter who welds them. Okay. It's fully fledged out with turrets everywhere on every corridor. Mara, behave. It's late. Okay. And this is a chute. So imagine like it's a laundry chute, but yeah, the same concept, because whatever you have left over, oh, I didn't deposit these materials, these small tubes, these construction components. Before I log out, I can drop them here, and the sorters will just drain them. It'll well, components won't be drained because there are like this is the factory is set up to craft things and leave them accessed on the garage side of the factory. So sorters here will just let you won't drain anything. But as you saw, the gravel was drained into the cargo of the ore, and it's ready there for ejection. I'll show you the ejection later, but yeah, anything that you drop here besides components, ammo, and equipment and tools, anything built by assemblers, will then be resorted back into the factory, so then you don't have to worry about moving heavy items like ores and ingots back into the factory all the way over there, walk all the way. So you'll drop them, and also anything you drop here, any components you drop here, will be accessible anywhere in the factory, except the cargo, the ore and the ingot storage boxes. But everywhere else, the sorters should have access, and there should be no loops. Okay, this is, I got ahead of myself, sorry. So we're leaving now the residential quarters, and before we get to the middle part of the building, of the science building, which has an airlock, we have a room here, which is our command center. This command center
Fuel critical.
is equipped with a medical room, a projector, the same access to the same cargo chute, so that you can access components or anything, even oxygen bottles. You'll be able to reach the generators and then pull the bottles back out of the generators, all the way from here. So it has its own vent. The residentials, each room doesn't have a vent, but the corridors do have a vent. The vents are set to always pressurize unless you power the facility down, in which case every single vent will depressurize. So that if you're attacked or anything, like a hole happens or an asteroid actually hits, it's not going to drain your entire oxygen. Your entire oxygen is going to be locked up in your tanks. All right, so you have here set up so that you can load a blueprint, but this is just kind of like an area for you to plan. Only the leaders of the faction plan. You have a button panel here for main power on, main power off, and notice it doesn't also cut your power, like your batteries are fine, so you'll still be able to press every other button. You can fire an alarm, so if you detect an enemy, everyone, it's gonna be alerted, and the range of that sound block is the maximum. So as far as they outside, they'll be here. They'll be able to hear it. Also, that alarm will trigger doors to lock on their own, or at least close. You see? So if someone is like running and they forgot to lock a door or something, they'll auto close as soon as possible. I think it's 10 seconds, but this is so loud, so let's stop it. you can immediately defense off. This is something that you can always trigger. You can always go to here in your control panel and then look for defense off. Every action or function, like in programming, are called functions. It's gonna be labeled act, ACT for action, and it's gonna be belong to a group called actions. But yeah, defense off, trigger now, and then you're good to go. The loudness is off. Okay, so that's gonna detect enemies, and even enemies digging up beneath you will be you'll hear them as far as the sensor reaches. There's also 3 enemy sensors, so that you can extend the range to fully encompass the entire facility. All right, here next, you'll be able to see your hydrogen, but we're limited in Xbox on scripting, so you can figure out better scripting for your main command post LCD, but I'll leave that up to you. And then you have already fully configured consoles. This console will control, I'll tell you now, it'll control all the Gatling guns. Okay, so you'll be able to turn the antenna on and off, so that your stealth, all the turrets, you'll be able to control, and then you'll be able to switch between if you press L and B, you'll switch to another tab and get access to even more. It looks like they're repeating, but it's because they're next to each other. And then this one is going to be the missiles. It's going to have the same 2 facilities, defense on and off, and then antenna on and off. Then over here, control missiles, and every missile turret is already labeled for you as well. Now, the last control station is to control the facility. Every single thing in the facility you'll be able to control from this station. You have power on and off. You have stockpile of tanks. You can control. I think this is the factory power on and off. You can double check and reassign if you want. Yep, this is the hangar garage power on and off, and then the hangar door closed. You can see it's opening there, and then we're gonna close it. But yeah, you get, as you scroll through these tabs, you'll have control over every single facility, part of the facility, and each part of the facility also has its own remote control. They're called RC Commons. Commons is this building, the residential building. Then there is the garage that's between the factory and the commons. So you have to reach the garage before the factory, and then there is a mine, but the mine shaft is not yet built, so the RC, it's kind of like it's not doing anything. But right now they're already fully configured, so if I go to the RC factory and I say control, I'll be able to see that the factory there is it's powered off, and my camera, but I can power it on. There it is, power on. And now I can change cameras. I can look outside in the grinders. I can turn the grinders on and off. I can switch between cameras, so I can see enemies that are trying to sneak around my base. And I can do this all from the command post, or anywhere, literally anywhere, because there are remote controls. So you'll be able to control the entire facility. Now that's you control generators, the refiners, everything you can control through .rc, and they're just gotta experiment with them, because I'm not gonna go over all the configurations, but you'll use a projector block, weld the item, and it's already gonna be fully configured with all the groups and functions and everything, and every area has their own camera, sensor. No, this facility is fully functional, fully programmed. I couldn't think of anything else. Okay, so now we're leaving the dormitory area and the command area, and this is the airlock, the middle airlock, which has its own camera on the top. So you can see if anyone's trying to get in from anywhere. You can lock down. You know, you make sure not to open this door, and there are enemy engineers on the other side. It has its own like suit for each of your engineer residents to gear up before they go to the unpressurized. And as long as the airlock is pressurized, these dormitory door and the science door will be open, because both wings are meant to be fully pressurized all the time, unless you power off. Like I said, power all off will depressurize. Notice that the vent is now depressurizing. So therefore, if your enemies attack you when you're gone away from your base, they're gonna have to deal with a depressurized base. You know, they're not gonna be able to use your oxygen to survive them for themselves, right? So we want our facility to be as hostile to them as possible. And being in Mars, for example, and hey Nitro, welcome. How are you going? Let me focus on the tour, but if you have any questions, ask at the end, because that's gonna be good for anyone that's also watching ahead later in time. They'll be able to hear the answer to common questions, right? But yes, let's power back all on, and each area of the facility has its own power on and off, and that is meant to save energy, because if we see when we're powered on, fully on, all the sensors, all the cameras, all the turrets never turn off. Turrets are never off, even the interior or the exterior ones. Okay, but sorry, power, no, not power, batteries. Let's look at our batteries. When the facility is fully powered on, they'll deplete in 3 days. All right, so when the facility is fully on, that means that your factory is on. That means that, you know, your generators, your refiners, assemblers, everything is on. And your door sensors, cameras in the interior. uh, you don't it's like before you once every day you come in, you turn the factory on, you use it, you're done with it, you turn it off. I'm building a rover, I turn the factory off because I'm done refining things, and then I just focus on the garage. The garage is on, but the factory is off. So that's the idea. That's each section. And when you're attacked, if your factory is breached, you turn it off. It depressurizes, and your enemies have to deal with that. You know, like they have to now they cannot breathe in the factory, but you can still breathe in the garage, and you defend the garage from the enemies trying to get in or whatever, you know. So that's the concept, to have modules that you can turn on and off independently, and at the same time have a master switch in the command that you can turn everything off or turn everything on. And that way, if I say like, oh, today I wake up and I'm gonna get on my starship and leave, I turn everything off, and that's what we're gonna look now. If we power everything off and we look at our batteries now, right? They'll fully deplete in 3 days, but it's because it's nighttime as well. And their current output is 24 kilowatts. 24 kilowatts, which is very minimal. Let's see, power on. It's not even 1 megawatt. But if we power on, let's check out our batteries. And that's because we always leave some cameras on, and so that we can remote control and look and see, oh, someone is raiding our base and they're inside. Also, we leave the enemy sensors on. So there are a few things, but now the output it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same. So it looks like this current output is 25 kilowatts of each battery. So that's one thing, but it does turn off the sensors, as you can see over there in the distance. So everything that it made sense to turn off is turned off, including the sorters, the refiners, the assemblers, everything. So if for example you had stone in your storage, it would stop, like as your refiner is refining it, it is going to drain more power. Also, if you have components queued up, as you're building them, your assembler is going to drain more power. So if you power off, everything is going to stop, but your queue is going to stay, and your stone is going to say, you know, it's just going to stop draining power. Everything is going to stop draining power and go to that 25k. But yes, other side of the residential wing, you have a quarter, the honeycomb effect. You want to section things off by via doors. So here, once they reach this, they're gonna meet 3 tourists. in a corridor. You also have a camera to see if there's anyone here before you start leaving. But then you have here 2 rooms, another cargo chute where you can get items and let's see what else here. I can get items from the other cargo chute, for example, and then drop them here, or anything will still get resorted back to the factory. Then this room is gonna be your cafeteria or your dining room. Excuse me. Fully fleshed out with vending machine and ATM. It has a jukebox and kitchen, bar, and then the middle table for everyone to just like chill, meet your entire faction. It holds eight people on the table. They have access on this side to the chute. Now on the other side is a side for lab or a research area / store. You have the store block, the contract blocks. You have a medical room, and then you have like a little science hydroponics corner here, and then shelves for the components. And I imagine like engineers are here doing research on how to make, motors better, like I don't know, or steel tubes have better structure or solidity, and I don't know. But yeah, here is the area for store clerk. Yeah, but because here's the store block. That's about it. Oh, one tip: you can assign your store block to someone via the. So here, for example, I go to any terminal and then I look for the store or I look for the contracts. Right? Here's the store, and I can say ownership, add NPC, and then I can look for any faction, NPC faction I like. Look at all these, Righteous Welder, CEO, Sacred Construction. These are like NPC engineers that the game has generated so that you can assign ownership of these blocks to them, and then you should be able to get like store items from them. Hopefully. Refresh. Was it contracts that I did? I don't know. Maybe that's not how I think it works. Oh well, build next to a space station and then get your contracts from there. Either way. Now, we've seen those areas are not that functional, but the important thing is there is a medical room stashed over here. So if one of the other rooms is like broken down, you still have somewhere to spawn. And each of these rooms is fully pressurized, so you'll be able to defend from our secure room. Okay, so now we're back in the airlock, and now what we can do is we can if you pressurize the airlock, it'll lock everything down, pressurize the vent, and then open the inner doors. Now if you depressurize it, it's gonna lock everything down, but it's not gonna open anything back up automatically. So the vent is already pressurized. You can see it has this blue light, and now you can either unlock the mine or you can unlock further into the facility through the crosslock. So the crosslock is gonna be pressurized as long as the facility is powered on, and you can also depressurize it because it has its own airtight hangar door. But the reason why these airlock doesn't open automatically, the outer doors, is because these doors are right out, are exterior facing. Yeah, these doors can be easily breached. These are the first stage out, and I didn't want those to automatically open, the sensor open, and then you have an enemy engineer here likely. So if you're attacked or under attack, you probably want these 2 doors to be unlocked as you choose, not whenever your sensor detects you. But yeah, so here the mine shaft it starts here, and right now I dug it by hand, but I'll show you in the tutorial series how we're gonna dig it with using pistons and rollers. And it's gonna be a perfect circle around, and eventually it's gonna have the mineshaft blueprint will have connection to the facility, so your your anything you dig and connect to this setup here will feed back all the way to the refiners. So they'll be able to keep, as you keep digging further down into your base, all that stone is gonna be already like processed for you. You can even queue the assemblage from here, and like everything is just gonna be done. You know, someone can work the entire mine, and someone else can be using the resources of the mine to build something at the surface level. But yeah, it's gonna be a perfect circle all the way 100 meters down into the ground, because this time I pasted the blueprint, but I'm gonna show you how we're gonna really build it in a true survival setting as fast as we can. And one of the first things we're gonna do is build this mine shaft, because all those resources are what gonna be used to build the base on top on the surface. So that makes sense to build this first, right? But yeah, this piston, I cannot design any further because blueprints only store one grid, and anything you attach to this piston is gonna be considered a subgrid. Therefore, I cannot design any further. But in essence, you'll have 7 pistons down to the ground, because you keep drilling downwards, 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 and as further, and that will be 100 meters downwards. Once you reach there, you have access to pretty much any deposit underneath the ground. There's not going to be anything deeper than that. Only more stone. Um, but yeah, at that point you reach the depth, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna remove this piston, and then put solid blocks, because pistons have a PCU count of 100. So therefore, you want to remove them. Let me show you. You can see that in the right panel at the bottom, the description below the materials required for the piston, PCU 100. So you can replace that with, like, I don't know, interior blocks or solid armor blocks, and it's gonna be way more efficient. You can use that PCU for other things. Another note to mention: the amount of turrets I have is nowhere near it's obsessive amount of turrets, because it's meant for the blueprint for the day of the raid. Like, you're under attack, you project this, and then you weld things if you need to, but you'll be able to have pretty much every single vantage point already. I guess I forgot to put turrets in this room though. We'll do that later. Imagine there's gonna be turrets once you load the blueprint, because I haven't published it. Before I publish it, I'll put turrets there. Alright, we're back in the airlock. I'll show you the mine shaft. Well, the mine shaft also has an exterior access, so you can go full outside, and then go back inside here, and everything locks behind you, so you don't have to worry. Now, back in the airlock, if we pressurize the airlock, it's done. The inner doors are open, but now we're gonna unlock the mine. Not the mine. Let's lock the mine back up. I messed that up. Mine is okay. Lock the mine. Unlock the crosslock. Here, let's show you the crosslock. Okay, crosslock is. We can check. Oh no, I removed the LCDs here. But here in the crosslock, let's pressurize it. We can lock power. Oh, once you leave the commons, there's no need to keep it powered on, so you can power it off. And it'll depressurize the airlock, depressurize every room in the commons, and then turn off all the sensor doors and everything but the essential camera, the camera in the command post, which you use in the remote control. So you say remote control the commons, and the camera is gonna be in the command. I'll show you. So here it's turned off, but if we remote control the commons, here is the commons block control will be in the command post, and notice it's powered off, but immediately we can power it back on, and you can see the the vent on the left pressurized the facility, but we can power it off. And then I think that powered everything off. Yeah. So let's power everything back on. Oh well, we can deal with this. We can deal with this. So everything is powered off. Everything, the entire facility. But now we can pressurize the airlock C. This, I mean the cross lock here, and then we can power the garage on as well. It pressurized, and now we can unlock it. Sensors are on, and it's going, it's pressurizing. But yeah, I don't know why it says it's not pressurized, but it is pressurized. Don't trust it. It's it's probably glitched. So yes, this is the garage, and it has LCD to tell you everything about the planet vanilla that makes sense to show. Artificial gravity, planet gravity, weather, the analog clock in the middle, and then your energy for your factory. Then you have a survival kit here in your garage. Every room pretty much has a spawn point, as many as I could spare. You know, I could put. Those are important. Um, it also has a vending machine, so if you're you come back from a trip, you can set your offers here, and then other players can buy them, or in your faction can buy them. And you have a vending machine here also. You can get a cola for start credits and everything. So here, let's see, I'm gonna purchase it. Then I got a cola. Now you have a other ATM here, because as we saw there, you purchase things with start credits in the vending machine, and then you also purchase Clan Cola for start credits. So it made sense to also have an ATM, and that's pretty much it. You have two connectors for two rovers, small sized rovers, because we only have one set of airlock. But yeah, you can fully control the airlock. Let's depressurize the garage. It's gonna lock the doors of the factory and the cross lock, so that no one like just opens it accidentally. They'll know. Plus, if we just what did I click? I pressurized it. Okay, so let's depressurize it. Notice you also have LCDs here that will tell you if the cross lock is pressurized or depressurized, though I don't know why it's showing them. And also you have LCDs on top that tells you whether the garage is pressurized or depressurized. You can see that right now it's depressurized. Let's take the cross lock and pressurize it, and then see if the LCD is on the other side. Also, the cross lock has the LCD for the airlock as well. So airlock says pressurized offline, depressurized online. So it is depressurized, and the garage is depressurized too. So let's depressurize the airlock C, and now we can open the back by clicking this one. And the cool thing about depressurization and having a vent here, this vent is actually draining oxygen, the little bit of oxygen that's up top in this mountain. It's draining it into the tanks, so it's refilling the tanks with the oxygen available. So that's pretty cool. If you're in an oxygen-rich environment, you'll be able to refill the tanks this way. It's not going to use ice for that. But yeah, you can also control this other one in the front, and your rovers can completely traverse from front to back. There's also a panel on each side, on the outside, to depressurize first and then open or close. And same over here, depressurize first and then open and close. Now let's stay outside here, because this panel, I can also depressurize the garage and open it. I know it's already depressurized, so I can just open it, and then the garage will open, and you just work. Here you have clearance of 2 only, though, 2 blocks only. Here you have 2 blocks as well. Oh well, Yeah, that's all you can get with the airlock doors. But unless you put a second set on the bottom, then you have 4 blocks, which is a little bit better. But it doesn't matter because we're gonna be building small drones, and even a small ship can enter here, um, if you build it compact enough, right? But now let's pressurize the garage, and also close the hangar. Notice that I pressurized before I closed, and the vent knows that it's not, so it doesn't spill out the oxygen right away. So you can click them both, and then once the airlock closes, if it was, I had to reload my save right now because there's a glitch with the vents, and this has happened before. But trust me, it will be pressurized, and it'll just, you'll be fine. You can remove your helmet and be fine. Now the factory, one of my favorite areas. So the factory, I guess it's powered off. Let's power it on. Now it's on. Sensor, it has one access door, which is this one, and on top of it, it has a turret and a camera. This then it has 2 cargos for components. Pretty much for every set, for ingots, components, and ores, it has 2 cargos, 2 large cargos, and then it has 1 ice cargo. All right, so everything will flow. Let's start. Let's start at the starting point, which is the collectors and the grinders, because everything else is just not gonna make sense. If I start from the back forward, this is one of the last things I did, and I forgot to. That way I don't forget later. Then a graded sidewalk. That reminds me, this blueprint has it uses every DLC, but they're not essential. So you can load the blueprint, and all you're gonna be missing is these graded catwalks, for example, or the shelves, or decoration items. Nothing essential. Nothing's gonna break. Even the programming blocks, they're not gonna break. But what you can do is just replace these graded catwalks with these ones, the steel catwalks. These steel catwalks will have they're vanilla. But if you have the DLC, which are really good DLC. Oh no. I love when that happens. The alarms, the enemy alarms, are set to detect objects. Like if they're dropping things on top of your base, it'll alert you, even if they're flying above you and dropping blocks on you, because that's one way of raiding, right? Dropping blocks. Okay, but yeah, defense. Defense off. Anywhere you can access, you can just trigger it off. Okay, so yeah. But yes, everything starts here. Let's show you the airlock. Let's start from the outside. So there's, in the back of the factory, there's an airlock. Oh, I gotta pressurize the airlock so I can get out. Right, airlock is pressurized. Now let's depressurize it. You'll have 2 turrets here facing each other, so if they sneak in, you're not gonna see them until they walk in and bang bang. Right, you have 2 entries on either side. You have a camera here that we already saw. This is the rotating lights. You'll see these rotating lights are the alarms, the defense on alarms. You'll see them from far away. If anything triggered them, you'll see the red rotating, excuse me. All right, here are the collectors and the grinders. Anything you drop will be processed by one sorter, not one sorter, one conveyor entry that leads, okay, back into the factory. So let's pressurize the airlock C. You'll see this. Yeah, the vents are messed up. Don't worry. Okay, from a conveyor, it's not this one actually, it's one below it, but that conveyor feeds into these 2 cargos. So these 2 cargos are gonna get everything. Like all those collectors and grinders are gonna fill up these 2 cargos. Then the left wing here is gonna sort ice. So ice is gonna fill up this cargo. which is also connected to generators and the hydrogen tanks on the left side. Um, there's like programmable blocks, but you can see there's like one hydrogen tank inside in case they blow up your tanks outside. You still have one inside, and there are, I think, 5 tanks outside, so you'll be able to recharge pretty much any large ship and then have hydrogen to spare. Okay, so you have engines. I think you have 1 engine and 1 reactor, 1 small reactor, because yeah, survival, early game, and then you can replace it or do. I would put the large reactor underneath the bunker in the deep 100 meters down bunker, because you don't want that thing to blow up when inside here all your cargo storage. So that's why I just left one reactor, and it's all the way up in the front. The last thing that they're gonna raid is probably here, and you can see it. There it is. There it is. That little reactor in the welder tip. It's powered off because I power the reactor and the engine off when I'm measuring my energy consumption, because those are blocks that you turn on reserve. Like when your energy reserves are low, your batteries are low, you turn those on and recharge your batteries, but they're expensive. This one consumes a lot of hydrogen, the engine, and then the reactor a lot of uranium. So you don't want to leave those on all the time. You want to turn them on and off only when you need them. So okay, those are done. The blueprints, they're gonna be off when you load the blueprint. But yeah, okay, so that we saw the ice side. Oh, ice, this sorter will also feed bottles. The bottles will feed into the generators, and there is one sorter here. No, there's no sorter. There's just a feedback that only allows ice because it's accessible to this storage. It'll allow it, and bottles, bottles. So you'll be able to drop bottles directly into your generators from anywhere in your facility, and then drag them back out from so that's one area that's open, the hydrogen, but it's not gonna feed into your cargo or assembler or ingots because this sorter here blocks it. It only allows ice and bottles. I guess we need to create a filter here for ice. Let me do that right now. This is the resorter. In the middle of the 2 main end cargo, the final cargo, which are components essentially, is a resorter. This sorter here, well, this one is a filter, and then it feeds back. So anything that connects in the front that brings in stone, ice, you don't want it to fall into your components cargo. So you connect it, and this resorter is gonna pull. This one is gonna filter. So components are not pulled back, and a loop back is not created. And right now the filter only has, I think, gravel. Really, what is that? Refilter has components. Okay, so blacklist components so that components don't get in a loop fed back. Okay, so because we connect to the ingot storage, which also connects to the assembler sorters. Well, there's one sorter for both assemblers, which is this one, assembler out sorter, which drains components. You see? So therefore, we don't want. I guess the filter should not just drain components. I'm glad I'm doing this I'm saying this aloud because you see all the configuration that it takes. This one has to blacklist, but also has to blacklist tools. At least no, I know why. The ammo is not blacklisted so that it can feed the turrets, and the hand tools are not blacklisted so that you can refill the bottles. Okay, so that's one thing. So components are not gonna feed back into the loop, even if you deposit them by accident or anything. Okay, so that's the resorting is gonna connect in the top, in the ceiling, to everything, including the turrets. The turrets on the ceiling are connected but via this sorter, because notice that it's also connected to the final component, which is also where the ammo lands after the assemblers build them. You have two assemblers, each fully decked with 4 speed modules, so they'll create the turret on the raid. You'll be able to like produce ammo, and the turrets will automatically replenish, except the interiors, because the interiors you have to replenish them manually. They don't have a connector. So you have to replenish these manually, but at least the ceiling ones, even the missile turrets, will be replenished automatically. So therefore now, but also the top middle part will also feed back here. Notice that there is a conveyor there. It's gonna feed back into the ingots, and there's a sorter to allow that. Here you can see this one will feed back, I think, ice. Is it? Oh no, this is bottles. Yeah, bottles. Bottles fall directly here. And but yes, there is also in here is a sorter for ice again. I mean for ingots and ore. Oh, nice. I see why. I see why. Sorry, man. I have configured this like 3 times, and I don't know. I can't remember which is the latest state of things. But this is an improvement that I did. That I got rid of all 3 sorters. I had 3 sorters. One for ingots, components, and I don't know, ores. But now I got everything into one, because I figured if just like everything falls in the collectors and gets sorted from this cargo, then so can everything in the front fall back into those cargos and get resorted out. So that's why I replaced that. And what I did is install the filter so that the components don't fall there, but everything else will. So you're supposed to, like, if you connect a rover in the front in the garage with a bunch of ore or ingots, they'll be pulled automatically because of this resorter back into the front of the factory, which then either refines the ore using these refiners, which have full set. You have 2 refiners on this side, one side only, but you have 2 refiners because the other side is ice, with speed modules. Each one has 4, so 8 speed modules, 2 refiners. You'll refine a lot really fast, and plenty. So but it also has its own ingot sorter, so it's gonna be able to drain out. And this is good because you don't need 2 sorters. You have 1 sorter for ingots, and that's it. It drains from both refiners. Oh, sorry for that. It even dissed me. But yeah, if it falls here, all your ingots, your reactor will have access to the ingots. Here's the reactor. You can access it easily by removing this plate here, and then just refilling it manually if you need to. But if you drop uranium, it'll get sorted, and your nuclear reactor will drain it automatically. Notice that your ingots are here, so reactor is behind the component sorter, so therefore you're sure it's gonna have access. I just haven't dropped uranium, and I'm kind of like, it's all theory, and I haven't seen it work, so that's why. But it's all good. I think that's a lot. It's a lot. I know it's a lot of base tour, but that's about it. Let me show you. I guess depressurize the airlock. Yep. Let's do outside look. What else? What else is there? Let me hide the grinder. There are cameras all around, so you'll be able to see. There is one antenna. There are the grinders. Oh, I'm gonna add a blueprint version that turns these into bunkers, because during the raid you really don't need grinders and collectors. So if you see people building up prefabs ready for raiding you, you can load a blueprint that turns these 2 areas into bunkers with even more turrets. Because why not? They're already connected to the factory, so we can easily turn all these collectors, 9 collectors, into 9 turrets. Yep. So, well, maybe not, because they have a little bit of range distance that they need from each other. So, but you know what I mean. Even more turrets, which is good. And you don't want to be designing that on raid day. You know, you want to have the blueprint readily available and then load it into the projector, weld it, and done. But yeah, you have your hydrogen tanks have oxygen generators on the top, like the hydroponics oxygen generators. It has 4 of them because you really don't need that much. It's super oxygen efficient. It doesn't let, if you handle each thing right, even if you mess up, for example, even if I open the hangar um, while before I depressurize, it's only gonna lose the oxygen in the hangar. It's not gonna lose the oxygen in the living quarters, in the factory, in the garage. You know what I mean? So because everything is sealed off in compartments, like a ship, like a a naval ship, right? But yeah, here is the ejector as well. The ejector is grouped. It has a sorter and a connector to it. The connector is set to drain all and throw out all. So anything the ejector sorter pulls, um, it'll um, it'll it'll throw out. It'll throw out. Yeah. Okay. So all you have to do is look for the group ejectors group here. Show in terminal so that you can see them in terminal, and then the sorter. Just set whatever you want to throw out. Excuse me. It won't have access to the components because of the filter, the refilter, but it'll have access to everything else. Um, if you wanted a ejector, but I don't think I've never thought of having to eject components. I have to eject ice or ingots, the gravel. Right now it's set up. The whole thing is set up for gravel as an example. So you'll be able to throw gravel anywhere in the facility, and it'll reach this area here, this ejector, and all you have to do is you don't turn them on and off individually. But I wanted to show you the sorter so that you could know where to assign things. Stone, for example. Oh, I have a bunch of magnesium, but I don't want to grind the stone. You know, it's gonna clog up, so it's gonna be drained everything else out, and you'll be able to keep harvesting magnesium or mining magnesium, but not have the stone, not have to wait for the stone to be refined in order to make up room for more magnesium. So yeah, that's important to always have ejectors. You don't have to, like I said, handle them individually. All you have to do is set the sorter to whatever you want to be ejected, and then turn the group on and off. Once you turn it off on, it'll throw everything out. And then if you power the factory off, there you go, gravel is gone. If you power the factory off, it'll turn off your ejectors. So say for example you forgot, you left your ejectors on. Once you power the factory off, and you turn it back on, the ejector won't turn back on. Like I'm gonna demonstrate that. I have the ejector, I forgot the ejector, I left it on. So I'm gonna go to my factory, I'm gonna search for power, actions, power factory off, trigger, it turns off the ejector sorter and the ejector itself. And then when I come back the next day and I turn it back on, my friend was also playing, and he just got a bunch. He never turned on the factory, but he got a bunch of stone for something. Like he's not gonna suddenly you see I'm triggering now, and it's not turning on. The ejector and the sorter, the factory is on. Look at all the other sorters are green inside, but the ejector won't turn back on unless you manually turn it back on. So that's a fail safe, so that you don't accidentally like eject a bunch of things that you don't want to, like ice or something that was left in the sorter. Looks like a storm's brewing. I can't wait to play. But I wanted to we're about to start a brand new series. This is the intro before the series, because we're gonna be building this space from scratch using a projector block and gathering out all the resources.
Fuel
We're
critical.
also gonna be drilling the 100-meter down mine shaft and creating a even more secure facility that's 100 meters in the ground, because if raid day comes and they destroy this factory, we'll still have a bunch of resources in the bottom, because since this chute is already connected to that factory and that component storage, we can put a sorter down here, like they rate us, right? And then we turn on that sorter that drains everything valuable from the factory, like uranium, all the components that we have already built, and then stores it 100 meters in the ground. So if they raid us and they get access to the factory after defeating all these amount of turrets, they won't find anything valuable in these cargo containers. The only thing valuable will be actually the resources required to build the facility, but they would have already destroyed it in order to get in the first place, get inside the first place. They would have blown it up. They would have dug like people dig. They bring a ship, a starship here, and they start drilling here. Boom, they drill underneath your base and they put explosives, right? But we're gonna have a bunker that's 100 meters. It's gonna, one, it's not gonna have antennas 100 meters in the ground. They're not gonna see that, right? Plus, they're not gonna know exactly where the let me turn off the audio, because the audio is gonna be fighting me. During survival, I'll turn the audio on because I think that's really good for immersion. But we're doing an explanation tour, and the storm just suddenly showed up. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Still, so the base is gonna the real bunker, or well, the bunker is gonna be 100 meters down, and it's gonna be a cargo, emergency cargo, and a bunch of tourists to protect it. So that it's gonna be hard for them to dig, and even if they dig underneath this base, we're not gonna worry, because we're already gonna have a bunker in the ground with a refiner, assembler, and everything we need to load a projector back up and bring a ship, weld the entire factory back online, and we don't get wiped. We'll have a bunch of survival kits, medical rooms, everything, and they can destroy this entire facility, but it's gonna be really hard to wipe us, because we're gonna be living 100 meters underneath the ground, and raiding that layer down there is gonna be very challenging. Like, one, they're not gonna know, is because the most easy the way they're gonna destroy this is by digging just 30 meters here, 30 meters underneath, then finding their way up, blowing it up from underground, and that's fine. But finding something that's 100 meters deep, it's not easy. It's not easy. You don't know, because you can only dig and it's gonna dig up like a little bit, a little. Look, the size of the shaft. So you have to be lucky. You'll have to be lucky, if you're drilling and then you hit it, and you find it. But by then, it's a lot of time. It's making it so difficult for them that by that time we'll be able to counter or do something. Plus, I'm gonna also show you um, how to build this other blueprint, because we're actually gonna build the rover first. We're gonna build this. I have a bunch of blueprints. I have bunkers. I have all kinds of stuff to show you guys, and I can't wait to show you guys. But my favorite, all-time favorite blueprint, I'm gonna show you now. Oh, this is the welder, the boss. It has 3 blueprints. So all you have to do is load the blueprint into the projector, the one you want, either a miner, a welder, or a grinder, and then just grind and weld. You don't even have to like place blocks. It's already, the blueprints are all fully configured and everything, grouped and everything. So it's pretty cool, because I'm a programmer, and there's a concept called dry programming. It's called do not repeat yourself. Everything you do, don't do it twice. Like, program something to do it for you instead of you having to do it manually every single time. So these blueprints are programmed in that same concept, so that like everything is grouped. You don't have to be typing and managing and in the control panel. But yes, this is the Boss Rover MK3, and I'm gonna show you how to build it. But this is what drills into the ground, and oh, it's fully equipped. You don't reach the inside of it, but inside it has one refiner, one assembler, both fully decked out with speed modules. So we'll use this as a mobile station. It's fully pressurized. The cabin here is fully pressurized with sensor, just like everything else we build. It's gonna be fully pressurized and with sensors and enemy detectors, and it drives like a boss. Okay, it's a boss. It drives so well with those three. The wheels in the front and the back have steering, but the wheels in the middle don't, and it's so awesome. It even drifts. This massive 500 ton, no, it's well, 500,000 kilogram. So I don't know how much that is, but in tons. But yeah, 500 kilogram monster drifts. I gotta show you that. I tested it in an ice lake, which ice is the less stable, so like driving surface, and it drives like a boss. I'll show you that once sometime, but we don't have any ice, and we're in a cloud top mesa in a sandstorm, so maybe soon. What was the first thing we're building? So you'll see plenty of it in the survival series, so please stay tuned for that. I can't wait. It's gonna be so awesome. And But yeah, so we're gonna be building this first in the survival series. Then we're gonna be drilling this mine shaft hole 100 meters down, and using all that resource that we're gathering, we're refining, and and turning into components using this rover to build pretty much the living quarters and as much of the factory as we can. But we already have a refiner and assembler, so we keep using our rover to keep building the entire facility until we have the facility, and then we still have our spare rover, which we can then drive off into the distance and hide somewhere in like a canyon, like somewhere around here. We drill a hangar bay without an antenna. We just keep the GPS location and then come back to our rover if worse things happen. Worst thing happen that our facility gets totally destroyed. Our rover is gonna be fully capable as a mobile base to keep us going. Find a new location, settle, load our projector block with our blueprint for our facility, and weld a brand new facility. So therefore, you don't get wiped. Like that's the idea. I'm trying. So and also, I want to design a blueprint for a very stealthy underground bunker, because this guy, like, all I have to do is connect. Um, Let me show you what I do. Let me do just sorter. Okay. So here I remove in the real survival. I weld. I grind down the connector. Actually, I only place the connector when I want to eject things. I remove everything as I need. These are like attachment pistons. And then I attach a storage container. So this is gonna drain everything. And I set this sorter. I set this sorter to drain all, blacklist anything. Everything gets. So if I'm done, like I don't want this Clan Cola. This small container, the sorter is gonna pull it in, and then it's gonna get sorted eventually later. The machine is gonna sort it for me. I just need to drop everything here and do that. But yeah, then you extend this piston, this attachment piston here. Okay, and now you'll be able to start putting pistons vertically here. That's the trick. It actually took me a while to figure this. But it's funny, because it seems so simple to do this. But I never thought of it. Three pistons, okay? You don't even need that many, but three is good. Three is good. And then you name them. Name these three up pistons. Up piston one, up piston two, and three. You extend them, okay? Oh, also, before you do all this, you attach one piston at the rear somewhere. I guess you gotta put a. I didn't think of this, but the idea. Oh, there you go. Perfect. And then you put a landing gear. You put a landing gear, and then you lock. You lock this. Don't let it. Don't extend it fully because it's gonna lift your rover up. So what you do is you set the maximum distance back down, so that it only extends only a bit, only a bit, short bit. So you say it extends and it stopped. All right, that's perfect because we now want to just only configure until that blue light in the landing gear turns green. So now we adjusted our camera, even in this panel we can see our landing gear, and then we just, oh, velocity is fine. We just add a little bit more maximum distance until, there it goes. You see how it lifted when, because I passed it? So let's do that, reverse, and then reverse back up, and now it's fine. Otherwise, because remember, this is a rover, and if it's not level with the surface, that hole is gonna get dug in an angle. It's not gonna be straight down. And if you put a drone in the way bottom at 100 meters down, and then it's level on the surface, and then you use your vertical propulsion to go up, you're gonna hit the side of the shaft, okay? And you don't want to crash because you brushed your drone while it was exiting, you know. So that's a trick. And what you do, you also when you park it, you use your console. Notice my console. That in the bottom it has a gyroscope next to the gravity, planetary gravity, and it's actually at an angle right now. So the rover is not perfectly leveled, and this hole that I'm about to dig, you can also see the angle here, will be uh, in an angle. So you don't want that. You first level the machine and then drill down. But this is an example, so I'm not gonna waste time doing that. I'm just gonna show you the blueprint for what you need. Once you extend these pistons, you add a conveyor, and then you add a horizontal piston, and you call this one X piston, or whatever makes sense to you, but to me it makes sense, an X piston. You just want to clear a distance because uh, um, you're gonna fit drills. So you extend this as far as it goes. While it's extending, you can add a conveyor and then start dropping pistons down. You should be able to fit 7 pistons down. So let me see how much so that's 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're almost at the bottom. We don't keep putting pistons because we still need to fit in an advanced rotor, not any old rotor, not the regular rotor, but the advanced rotor, because the advanced rotor has a connection port. The other rotor doesn't, so it's not able to transport items from one side of the rotor to the other. Okay, so advanced rotor. Now you have the advanced rotor, and you confirm you have that conveyor port on the bottom. You add one conveyor. Actually, no, the perfect size hole for this bunker entrance, so that the hole doesn't extend outside here. You can make it bigger, but then you have to cover it. So if you want it to be fully covered by this mine shaft staircase here, okay, what you have to do is you have to put one drill first, okay, one drill first, and then one conveyor on each side, because conveyors are less expensive than drills, right? And what you need is clearance. You don't need necessarily these amount of resources. Plus, you'll be able, like, if you have too many drills, the one single refiner in this machine is not able to refine fast enough. So if you have too many drills, it'll get clogged up. But in that case, you use injector. I think there's a port you can. Well, I this one I just do it on the fly. I'll just like cut in a hole here somewhere, and then there should be a port that I can set an ejector somewhere. I don't know where it is. Oh no, I don't have to do that. I can probably do it from here, from the butt. Yeah, that's why. I had two versions. This is the third version, so sometimes I get confused on which is which and how it's configured on the inside. But yeah, now this is the perfect size because one, also the gap in between the drills makes a little like rivet and keeps the drills from like wobbling too much. Okay. And I'm just gonna take advantage of the time, and I'm just gonna show you the configurations I use for the rotor. Okay, let's look at the rotor in the control panel. The rotor, you want, very important thing is look for the advanced rotor. It's gonna be all the way on the top. I'm gonna hide all these. Okay, advanced rotors, there it is. So you want to lower the torque to 20, because if torque is the amount of strength that it does rotation. If it hits a wall with a high amount of torque, it's gonna break the bit, the rotor bit, the connector is gonna break, and it's gonna release all your drills, and then you have to like grind all your drills and then re-weld them back into the tip. It's a mess. So if you just have your rotor at 20, if it gets stuck in a wall, it's just gonna do that. It's just gonna get stuck. It's gonna stop and then wait for you to reverse it and like have the drill bit raise the drill bit, and then you unstuck it. You get it unstuck. If it's at 30, it's gonna break. So just lower it to 20 and you'll be good. Now the speed, okay, you're gonna wanna lock it and unlock it. The speed is gonna be set at 1. 1 is fine. 1 point anything is fine. And also you can use either cockpit. You can use a regular cockpit, but if you use the other one, the industrial one, it's already gonna be in the right direction, because the industrial cockpit is, notice the chair is sitting, the connector port is on top of the chair, on the ceiling of the cockpit, versus in the regular industrial cockpit it's on the bottom. So then your chair is upside down in the regular one, but in the industrial one you're right side up. Okay, so that's just one tip. So I like to use the industrial one rather than the regular cockpit, because it makes sense. But here what I configure is the rotor. I want to be able to lock it on the fly and reverse it, because if it gets stuck, I first lock it, I reverse it, and then so okay, lock it, there we are rotating, and then lock it, and then it stops. I reverse and unlock, and now I get it unstuck, because I also reverse the pistons, so they're not pushing down, but now they're pushing up, and that's how you get the drill unstuck. But yeah, at this point, the other configuration I do in the cockpit is I group all my drills on and off, and then the pistons, the down pistons, I put the other button to reverse them. Okay, now the speed. Speed is very easy to remember. The ideal speed for one refiner to process stone caught by these drills, okay, is 007, 007, okay? So remember that speed. You want, doesn't matter how many pistons you have, okay? You want their combined speed to be that speed. So you added 007, yeah, yes, and then you do, for example, if you have 3 pistons, you set them at 002.3 or something, and that adds to 69, and like closest to 7 as you can, 007, and then you set them to lower, like you reverse them, and then it's gonna be the same drilling speed or lowering speed that if you set 7 downward pistons to 0.001. Okay, so just remember that 007, 0.007, 0.007. So 0.007, whatever that combined speed, one refiner is going to be able to process all that stone, and then you just leave it doing it. Just build something, build the welder ship, load this blueprint up, and your welder, your drill is going to be collecting a bunch of stone. You're going to be refining it, getting components, and then you build the welder. Here's the welder, because you're not gonna weld that entire facility by hand. We're not gonna weld this entire facility by hand. No, we're not. We're gonna first, once we pick our position, our place. Oh, I forgot. Pertam has. Oh, that's a good thing. Pertam has 1.2 gravity. It has more gravity than Earth. So this blueprint is gonna need more thrust. Didn't think of that. Sorry, guys. We'll update the blueprint later. Well, there we go. Perfect. It was meant to be. That's where that. Okay. So now we have plenty of thrust. Yes. Okay. So you're gonna build a welder like this. It probably you don't even need this many thrust. And as your drill keeps drilling, what you're gonna do is you're gonna be gathering the components from the backside of the rover, and then using the welder to build out the projector blueprint of your station. And then this welder is a little bit larger than what you probably would need, because it has plenty of batteries, and also has oxygen tank here, and it also has a hydrogen tank, I think. Maybe no, it doesn't. It has a generator. It has an oxygen generator and an oxygen tank. So you just drop a little bit of ice and you'll be able to live here. Even if you're in the moon or Mars, your character is gonna be fine, as it's welding. You're not gonna have to worry about bottles. So you weld your ship in peace, regardless of the atmosphere. And yeah, this welder is gonna serve you for a lot of things, in the later on. It's only 64,000 kilograms, and everything is thrust. Okay, it's all thrust. I hit a tree. So that weight is used up in something that's gonna help you lift up more components. So that it barely even has armor. It has armor to like keep everything together, but that's it. Look at the top. The conveyors are exposed, but it kind of looks cool. I think it looks really cool. I like it. It's also pretty compact, horizontally and vertically, so that if you attach the miner, it's not gonna get stuck. Plus, it has upwards thrust here. I mean downwards thrust, so it kind of helps you if you reach an angle. Sometimes when I'm mining, I forget the gyroscope. As I'm getting heavy, the ship starts turning and shifting, and I don't notice. And then suddenly I look, and my gyroscope is like this sideways. Here it doesn't work really well because it's per time, but on Earth and like Mars, even better. This ship is fully capable of like rotating vertically and being upside down. Because it has the same amount of thrust upwards, downwards, and sideways, so you shouldn't have to worry. It flies really well, except in Pertam. There is 17% more gravity in this planet. But there you go. This is what we're about to do in survival series. So I'm gonna be leaving this video here, because at that point all you do is drill down, make the hole, build the welder, and then build the station. And then with the station, then you keep building the bunker underneath the ground at 100 meters in depth. and you create a loop, not a loop, I mean a sorter that is able on command to drain all the resources that are here in the factory all the way down to that 100-meter down port. um, and also if you need them back up, you also feed them back up, but you can design that on the fly, because I'll leave the bunker, we'll design the bunker later, but it's gonna be part of the subgrid, I think, or something, I don't know, so that people don't notice it. Because if I hack this, like I hack this, all right, boom, on PvP. Now I connect and I see the control panel and I see like, oh, I there's more refiners, there's more storage here that I don't reach, I don't know, like I haven't destroyed as a raider. Then there's more to the base than I can see, right? But eventually on raid day, just grind this up. Okay, let me turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Grind this up. Hide the shaft. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to grind them because I'm in survival, creative slash whatever. But you can just, who's gonna know there's a whole shaft underneath like the entire base, you know? So what you do, you hide, you make this look like a little entrance. No one knows there's a big hole down underneath here. You can even put more blocks here so that if they grind or anything, blow anything up, the hole is even it's hidden underneath. Okay, but yeah, you drain all the resources, grind the sorter so that it becomes its own grid again, like the bunker underneath becomes its own grid, and it's not visible when you look at the control panel here on this top grid, okay, on the facility. So they raid it and they say, oh yeah, we wiped them, they're gone, wow, they have very little resources, everything was empty, you know. Oh, but we got turrets and we got bullets, that's fine, okay, that's nice, good, awesome, good day, good raid, GG. They go home. Little they know that underneath there's a big hole with a bunch of stuff. But I guess this is a video, so anyone watching the video will know there's a hole down there. But I'll leave it up to you, because you can use this rover to dig a hole anywhere. Like it can be 50 meters, 50 meters from here. And then I don't know how you're gonna transport, but yeah, or I don't know, you can figure it out. But at least I give you as much of a starting point as I could, as I thought as I could think of. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay, but yeah, like every other space engineer day, doesn't matter we're in creative, we're gonna log out like a boss. Okay, our facility is powered off. Took a long time to name everything. I named everything on Xbox, you can imagine. But it's so worth it when I can search for things and find them, and it's not timer block number 76. But let's depressurize the airlock so that we can get in. Depressurize for me, come on. Oh, I made it so it doesn't unlock automatically. I forgot that. Yeah, because I was depressurizing. It was opening for me, and yeah, I said like, well, one day I'm gonna depressurize, and then there's gonna be an enemy on the other side. So let me just manually open it. Okay, so let's pressurize it. You see the vents are working now, I guess. It's pressurized. So the day is done and you're ready to turn in. Your facility is pressurizing, but what we can do is we can just power everything off, and then I guess the corridors are being pressurized, but this room might be still have air. Nah. Oh well. Okay, I gotta update the blueprint so that this vent doesn't depressurize, because We want to be able to breathe when we're sleeping, right? But I'll do that later. Imagine that the blueprint has it so that this one doesn't depressurize. And then day is done. Notice we power everything off, but the rooms are still powered. So that's by design. We have the jukebox play as we walk in. The TV turns on, the lights turn on as we walk in. And we're ready. We're ready to log out. Remember, when you're ready to log out on survival PvP, any server that keeps on going, you know, when you're offline, log out in a bed. And then you're here. So that's it. Notice that when I entered the bed, the sensor noticed that I left the room. It was kind of like, oh, he left the room. So if this door is closed, it'll lock behind you. And I can, yeah, you can see it there on the left. The door is locked, the light is off, and the music plays, but it's not gonna loop. It's just gonna play once and then stop. So it's not gonna lose charge or bother everyone. At this effect, this room is powered off. You can log out, and even your bedroom is not going to consume power from other people logged in and using your facility. So I think this, I couldn't think of anything else to add, but hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me just leave it here so you can see the outside. One last circle around. Hydrogen tanks, oxygen generators, turrets everywhere. What happened there? Something happened there. I think a meteor hit, or the storm damaged it. Yeah, we have one solar panel that needs fixing. But yeah, it's fully functional base. And it's not all crazy, you know, like a bunch of blocks. It's, oh, the PCU count. Yeah, that's important. So it has a ton of programmable blocks, sensors, and turrets, interior and exterior turrets. So you don't need this many in survival playthrough. So I would suggest have them in the blueprint, but only weld up the ones that you want. If you're in survival, you don't, and you're playing by yourself, single player, you don't even need interior turrets. Just leave them out of the build. Leave it without turrets, and then let's power the facility on. You see how it's good? That's so convenient to be able to just click a button and power things on and off, and like I'm able to do. I see all the things that I'm doing, all the blocks that I'm turning on and off, and I imagine how long it would take to do it manually, and just clicking a block. But what I was gonna say. Ah, I forgot entirely what I was gonna say. Oh well. Oh, I guess that's just my brain telling me that's enough. You showed it all. There's nothing else to show. Let's pressurize and go back to sleep. I don't even know I was sleeping the airlock. Okay. But yeah. Oh. So facility's on. Your room will still turn off. It'll lock. The reason I lock these doors is so your lockers are private. Like, you know, only people with access to unlocking doors will be able to come inside here and actually open your lockers. So if I leave these components, like these components are for a very important build tomorrow, and I don't want anyone, you know, using up all the components in my base. Store them in your locker. You also can store things in your bed here. Your bed has storage, only 400 liters, but something. Other thing that has storage. There's something else that has storage. Is it the toilet? No, it's not the toilet. No, I guess that's it. You have two storages. You have your bed and you have your lockers, which is good. Locker is not bad. 1,000 units. 1,000 liters of storage. But it's because it's only meant. It's not meant. You're not meant to like keep all your resources here. You know, this is for like ammo, my gun, my oxygen tanks, things like that. That I don't want them missing when I log back in and where are my oxygen tanks? There's no oxygens on the generators. Where are they? No, nothing like that. You know. But yeah, that should be good. There's also, oh yeah, second bedroom. I didn't show you the second bedroom, but it's fully functional. Same, it's mirrored. Like I just built the same. Um, right now, oh yeah, I did show you the other bedroom because I showed you that to assign ownership of a room, you just assign ownership of this block, the sensor block, and the default ownership will fall on whoever welds it. So if you weld your own room, the sensor will recognize you. Um, but yeah, I guess you could build upwards, maybe. Yeah, definitely you could build upwards and build a second set of room if you need it, but that's a lot of PCU count. And you really only need two, maybe. One for the boss and one for the boss lady. Everyone else sleeps on a cat. Everyone else enable creative mode tools, invulnerable. Everyone else sleeps on a couch. Couches everywhere. Here's a couch. There, log out. Yep, that's what's like. That's what's up. All right, well, guys, oh, that's nice. Sunset. Oh, this area we picked. Let me show you the GPS coordinates because it's a really tall mesa. Really cool location. You don't have to depressurize and pressurize. You can just lock and unlock and get out. Okay. But yeah, let me fly. This area was meant to be built on. Why? Because resources are really scarce in Pertam. Like I know there was some game designer that manually sculpted this base because look at this silo here, like look at this canyon that conveniently has ice at the bottom of it right here. Oh, you know, plus this is the perfect shape for us to build a silo. Like there could be one rocket meant for emergency escape. Day raid comes, we load the rocket with all the components and then we leave. Although that's dangerous because it means you have to get away from all the ships that are raiding your base in the first place. And they're probably gonna destroy the rocket. If they got to destroy the base, they're gonna destroy the rocket too. So it's not really, I think, a best, but it's pretty cool. And if you ever wanted to, like, I picked this because of the ice there. Not just there, there's ice. There's also ice over here. What is this? Oh, it's slow because of the gravity. The jetpack is slower because of the gravity. It takes more thrust to get up, and therefore acceleration is lower. There, over there. That's the other patch. This is a massive one. Well, this is considered massive in Pertam. This is a patch of ice. Now we gotta go to space to get ice. There's no ice here, but this is ice, and this is as pretty much as large as I could find. So there's ice. Look for these little green areas, green patches of grass. That means that there's ice and water, frozen water underneath. But yeah, and this is one of the highest points in the entire planet. It's also in the pole, one of the poles. So notice that it's pretty much sunlight all day long. So that's convenient for when you're working. You saw how that this is the lowest that the sun sets. It'll never set. That's the lowest that it goes. Then it's daylight again. So you can do that. You can like pick a base location and then find it and build on it. So that's gonna be part of the challenge, reaching this location. We're probably gonna build something on the top, but I don't think I'm gonna build that bunker because I over there because I want it to be on top of a magnesium vein. I want to be able to get magnesium so that I can refill my turrets. So maybe like look, this is the size of a vein in Bertam. This is one resource here, nickel. So it's not you're meant to be using rovers to dig up the resource, bring it to your base, and then find a new deposit farther away, always farther away, because they're only little blotches, little spots like this one. There's another one here, but look how small it is. Iron, that's it. Just a little blotch of iron. But I think that's gonna be awesome because being in Bertam, it's gonna put all the engineering challenges to the test, like all our knowledge to the test, I mean. And it's gonna really, we're gonna see how to build a fully functional facility like this and rover as fast as possible in the most difficult and challenging environment possible. We're also going to set up asteroids to fall down and yeah, and so that it's as challenging as you can imagine. It's not going to be apocalypse, which is just a barrage of asteroids. Oh, speaking of asteroids, these two turrets, the missile turret here in the middle, since they don't have clearance, I set them exclusively as meteor turrets. The other ones will not target meteors. Therefore, like, because what happens is one meteor shows up, right? And all your turrets fire on it. Like, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like almost a dozen rockets lost, wasted on one asteroid. So you just want like 1 or 2 turrets to target asteroids, blow them up, and then that's it. You don't want every turret to go crazy trying to destroy asteroids. So those two in the middle will target asteroids, and then only the missile turrets, because you know the Gatling guns don't do too much. I think I gotta test that though. I haven't seen that, so don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure you wanna have your missile turret. They actually come that way configured. If you place a missile turret and a Gatling turret, you'll notice that their settings by default are to missiles to target asteroids and Gatling to target players. Like Gatlings are for players. These ones are for asteroids and large ships. Like even small ships can dodge your missiles easy. So I would think twice about setting them on small ships. I don't know. You figure it out. But you know, we'll have the blueprints to build if we messed up and get raided and wiped. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoy the base tour, and I hope to see you as well next in the survival series when we actually get to play and test all the configurations and everything that I did, and see if it's actually feasible to be built during a survival playthrough and in a timely manner. Okay, because that's another thing in PvP. You don't want to get spotted. You know, you want to be turret. That's why this rover has turrets already. One of the first things that you want before you even build the wheels on this rover will have functioning turrets at the top. That way, as we're building and gathering resources and doing, we'll still be protected. You know, and notice that it doesn't have missile turrets because at this stage we won't have access to uranium needed to build rockets. So we'll have to deal with Gatling guns, and they're part of the blueprint. But if you have access to rockets, I would replace the back one and the front one with turrets, with missile turrets, and yeah, or maybe the middle one Also, three missile turrets and you're good. That way you have clearance on all sides, and you have 2 rockets facing on the on lateral sides. Even 3. Yeah, the front one will also be able to lateral. Nice. Yeah, three missile. But yeah, all right, guys. So I'm gonna take a break, but today we're gonna start the survival series. We're gonna go drop pod, okay? And I'm gonna show you the first steps of what you should do, like when you land on a planet for the first time, the first day. But yeah, I hope you